A very good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another episode of Crypto Compass, where I'm going to be serving you your crypto breakfast every single day for the duration of this series. We're having a new monthly open. First of all, before I begin the analysis, I really want to give a big shout out to each and every one of you who has been following me, and not only following me, but has been actively studying in this crypto market, because ultimately, on the super macro perspective, we remain in a more or less in a bear market. So the fact that you are here, the fact that you are seeking your education in the right places means that you are putting in the effort so that you can be fully prepared for when the real volatility comes back into the market. So really quickly wanted to give you guys a shout out because that is very commendable. Hope you guys are getting everything out of it that you are looking for. And today is going to be a very interesting episode, because in this video I'm going to give you a small sneak peek on what a daily update in the new Discord community that is going to be released on the 14th of June is going to look like, right? So leaving off where we left off yesterday, where I highlighted the following levels where I would be looking for a trading entry. And as you can see, we have now hit that level. Yesterday was a very slow day. I recorded the video over here where I was looking for another drop, basically into the midline of the channel that we have been looking at for quite a while now. We did have a drop, front run it again, had a big bounce, and then finally we have had the drop into the level. So now we are at a really important level where I am definitely interested to take a trade from. And I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm going to look for. I'm even going to dive you a little bit into order flow, but also how I'm going to approach my trading entry setup. So stay tuned, because this is going to be very good. So quick recap. We have now hit this channel over here, right? The midline of the channel, where we have had our confluences as laid out yesterday. Just a quick summary. Midline of the channel, very important level. We have our golden pocket set at this region as well. And we also, in addition to that, we have a daily level waiting around here, giving us at least 3 levels of confluence. Now we have hit the level. So how am I going to go about this? This level was hit in the middle of the night, so I was simply asleep and I have not taken a trade yet. But I am definitely interested in trading this region. So take a look at how I'm looking at it next. So first off, I'm going to focus on the technical analysis. I'm going to add in a little bit more complexity to this chart by simply adding on a Fibonacci speed fan, where, as you can see, we have now taken it from the bottom to the high. We have dropped below the .786 in a diagonal version of the Fibonacci levels. And this is, as you can see, very well respected, meaning that we've been dropping through the level. We've backtested this now as resistance. Not only this as resistance, but we are also now backtesting the range that we've spent the entirety of the day yesterday in. And in other words, for me, for this to be a valid trade entry, I would be very much interested to look for this bounce, this lower high, and reclaiming that level where I would be potentially looking for a backtest of this diagonal Fibonacci line. It's kind of like a Fibonacci trend line. If you want to learn more about it, I'm going to be available in this Discord every day, during especially the New York trading sessions, where I'm, going to be, I can go in depth onto any questions you might have. But for now, what I'm looking for is for this to be reclaimed. Why? Because not only it will show us that the bounce is starting to go on, right? But we also change our local market structure. And on top of that, we are also starting to reclaim this range. And that increases the potential for a bounce quite significantly, where we can simply start trading this range once again. So the trade setup that I'm going to look for is going to look along the lines of this, right? Giving us already, if you're simply just trading the upper end of this channel, giving us a really nice risk to reward ratio, where I would be looking to enter a more conservative entry. So that means that after the bounce is really starting to gain some strength, And we have technical confirmation. You can simply enter a trade and that latest low over here would be my invalidation. Now keep in mind, this is definitely not meant to be financial advice or a signal. I'm showing you this, how my mind works, how I'm approaching the trade setup, and ultimately whatever you decide to do is your own responsibility. However, I do think this has tremendous educational value. That's option number one. That's the more conservative version. A more aggressive option would be for yet another drop to the downside, which at the moment is more probable because of the fact we simply have not reclaimed anything yet. Where I could be looking more for a swing failure, price action type of setup, where we take out this low once again, put in a much more better low, right? And then start getting that bounce. This is a much more aggressive and more risky entry, but the risk to reward is much better. So keep in mind, this is a very aggressive and very risky setup where you do need the skills to read order flow, for example, to take that trade with confidence. So those are two options how you can go trade about this region. And that depends heavily on what is your trading personality, right? So you need to figure that out. Something that I will also focus on the Discord. Like, what kind of trader are you? Are you more of a conservative trader, or are you more somebody who likes to be more aggressive? And how do you deal with that in terms of risk management? Because obviously if you trade more aggressive, you need a little bit of a different risk taking mentality rather than, and that makes all the difference from gambling, for example. Or are you more of the conservative entry where you wait a little bit longer, which also has its issues because, you also run the risk of, let's say, getting in way too late in a very unfavorable point, and you might miss out on the move because you lack the confidence and you don't take the opportunity. So those are definitely things that are going to have a very heavy emphasis over there. So this is currently the two options that I'm looking for the trade for today. Obviously, if we start getting like a lot of volume and we do not have this price action that I'm looking for over here, then I would simply be looking for a further drop to the downside. Now, in order to trade this downwards part of the channel, I'm not very interested in a short right here because, after all, that would mean we have already seen a significant decline in price, and this is ultimately a little bit in the middle of the move. So in order for me to be interested in a short, I would really like to see a little bit of a bigger drop and then also a larger retracement before I would actually be interested in shorting the lower part of the range. Alternatively, right, we do reclaim that, then I would be interested, first of all, to take profits on my long, but I would also be interested once again to see how the reaction is there for me to potentially entertain a short trade, right? So those are the levels that I'm looking for today, but I'm also, in this particular video, I'm giving you exactly an idea of exactly how my mind works when it comes to actually looking for the setup itself, right? So the level has been hit right now, but the trade entry simply has not been given yet. So next thing that I want to do is dive a little bit more into just a little bit more complexity, which is the order flow and the reasons why I think this could be forming a good place to bounce from. So first of all, we do have not only the VWAP slightly above us, I forgot to show that on the chart over here, right, which also corresponds really nicely and gives us extra confluence, right? That gives us that extra little oomph for that bounce to get ongoing. Those are just simple, plain technical analysis levels. Now, in terms of volume, we can now see that longs are starting to accumulate slower over time, but much more locally as we have this bounce. The shorts are getting very, very, very aggressive here locally. That can result in a squeeze, and that can ultimately result in us reclaiming those levels that I would be looking for to get my conservative entry. That would be a very nicely defined trade. So I repeat, I want this level to be reclaimed and back tested, where I could be looking for a trade entry, and simply that latest low forms my invalidation, where if we lose that low then once again, then this bounce was more of a squeeze / fake out, and we simply can continue onwards. By having this as an invalidation, for me that's okay, because my risk is very very measured, and I know already before I'm putting on the trade how much I'm going to lose if I'm wrong on the trade. And I don't mind to be wrong on the trade as long as I accommodate for that in terms of my risk management, right? I know exactly where I'm wrong, and if I'm wrong, that's fine. What I'm gonna do next, I'm gonna simply just take the loss and simply look for the next opportunity. And that is, ladies and gentlemen, how I'm looking to trade. Now, the final thing that I want to cover is another little piece of, I would say, a golden nugget that you're right now in this update getting out here for free. We do have some SPs above us, which in my opinion is very, very important. I do think the likelihood is high that we might get a bounce because of the way how we opened as opposed to yesterday in terms of the volume levels, but we also created SPs above us, which normally are good for trending days, but as you can see, we simply did not have one. So the probabilities are that we are going to fill these so-called liquidity regions today, or it could also be tomorrow, but that is ultimately what I am looking for. So at the moment, this does not necessarily look like a trending day to the downside. So that is one of the reasons that give me some extra confidence why I'm looking for a bounce to occur over here. And you know, that just adds everything up to each other. So we have our time profiles, we have our imbalances showing over here on the short side that are prone for a squeeze, but at the moment we have not seen that coming into play yet. However, by reading the information and reading that context that I saw in the order flow, I can start really making up my mind on like, okay, this is exactly how I'm going to go about this particular trade setup. And if that entry is given, then all I have to do is simply execute the trades because I already made the plan beforehand. So I will never be caught off guard. And simply, if we start dropping here from here on out, I will be simply looking for a similar scenario over here where I would like to see some volume coming in at the very lows, but never really losing the low. And actually, let's say having a close above this, where you could potentially look for that squeeze to come in from this moment on. A better entry, more aggressive, but way more risky because you do have to take the overall context into account. And as you can see, we have faked out of this range. We are now in the middle of the range and the local market structure is down. So as long as we do not reclaim that VWAP, the probabilities that we are going to see lower prices is higher, but the potential for that bounce is higher for me, you know, and that is definitely worth putting on some risk. So, really short, no nonsense video. What you see is what you're going to get. And that is literally the conclusion of this video. So hopefully you can use this to your benefit. If you want to learn more, just check out the previous episode. And if you're interested in joining the Discord on the 14th of June, simply click on the link in the description or in the comment below. And yeah, let me know in the comments what you think about this update, if you liked it, and let's stay in touch. Guys, have a really good day and trade safe. Keep your risk management in check and don't let your emotions be your guide, but technical analysis instead. Cheers, guys. Have a good day.